My name is Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium and tarot card reader. I've always been curious about the supernatural, the paranormal, and psychic abilities, and I'm here to share my stories and interview folks who want to share their own stories with us. Let's get to it. Happy spooky season! I know that it is September 30th, the day this episode is going out, but I'm going to consider it the first or the prologue, how do you pronounce that? Prologue to spooky season month, which is October. It is the last day of September before we go into October. And since I do this podcast weekly, one day a week, might as well have this episode cover the first few days of October, since the 30th of September falls on the same week as the beginning of October. So, that huge disclaimer for why this episode is a spooky special episode. We're going to have a whole month of spooky special episodes for each week that is going to include the month of October. And I chose this topic of, do ghosts get stuck on the other side, a couple months ago. But interestingly, a follower on Instagram sent me a ghost story, and it has a lot to do with this topic, in my opinion, based on what I've read. So I'm going to read what they sent me. This is from Kazemaru, who's based in Hawaii. This is their letter to me with their story. Aloha, this is Kazemaru, a fellow psychic medium from Hawaii. Firstly, thank you for the opportunity, and what a great idea for a podcast to share ghost stories. Let me share one of the many ghost stories I have encountered since childhood. This particular incident happened 20 years ago, and at the time I lived in London at an ashram where I studied and taught meditation while also working as a doctor specializing in holistic Eastern medicine, which included using the psychic eye to diagnose. I conducted home visits as well as working from a clinic, and I occasionally visited patients in the hospital if they were at the end of their life. One of the patients I saw was a young family man who had received a severe cancer diagnosis and was given a very short time to live. I was called to the hospital where he was surrounded by his family, who had heard about my work from the community. They believed that I could save his life. However, after assessing his condition, I explained that it was, unfortunately, too advanced to be saved. Despite my explanation, their hopes for a miracle against biological reality persisted. I felt great compassion for this family and did what I could to relieve his pain and ensure a smoother transition. He passed about 2 weeks later. A few days after his transition, this happened. As I was sound asleep, 1:45 I wake up to a tall, dark male figure entering my bedroom door. Still half asleep, I clearly see this figure walk towards my bed sighing and with distinctively heavy feet. Slow steps and dragging his feet heavy along the floor, trudging, slogging, dragging. Finally, he reached my bed and sat himself heavily at my feet. By now, I was wide awake and stared right into the face of my patient that had just passed away. He sighed heavily and said, "I really thought you were an angel and could save me." I focused my mind and replied telepathically and with all my heart, "It is over now. You are free from the torment of your old body. Please go in peace towards the light. The light is an all-peaceful, loving place. Now go into this loving light and be free. Be at peace." As I simultaneously visualized and felt this light, he slowly faded into its warm internal embrace, and his shadow figure cleared. I felt greatly at ease, not just for myself, but for him and his restless soul as it transitioned into a peaceful place. I soon fell back to sleep. The interesting part with this experience was that in the morning, Vina, one of the ladies I shared the room with, asked me, "Who was that man, the guy who came in through our door to sit at the feet of your bed by midnight? He was so heavy and sad." I explained the situation and was also pretty surprised she had seen him the exact same way as I had, as she knew absolutely nothing about this man. I treated confidentiality very strictly, so never ever shared anything about my patients with anyone. A couple of months ago, I asked her if she remembered that incident, and she did, and recalled it as if it was totally normal, LOL. I often think of his family as his wife and kids were still young, and they must have really wished for a miracle. Their wish was so strong that he had to visit me from the great beyond. For me, I am just happy I was able to assist in his transition towards the embrace of the unlimited light. Many thanks for reading, and best wishes for your podcast. I can't wait to listen. Thank you so much, Kazemaru. I find that story so beautiful, and I think it brings up the question that I originally wanted to have for this podcast episode when I planned it a couple months ago. And I even told Kazemaru in DM that this was no mistake, that she sent the story in. And I thought, well, when can I read the story? And I figured, the episode on Do Ghosts Get Stuck and Stay Stuck is a really good one for this story. And I think it's just so beautiful how, as a healer, you did this act of loving service when he visited you in the middle of the night, and you helped him to go to the light. And I think that's just amazing. And I think it brings up the question, do souls not know when they are in the in-between that, they're past, but they haven't gone to the light? Do they know that? Do they realize that? Can that happen to any of us? And if it can happen to us, then why does it happen? Why do souls seem to get stuck? Why do souls seem to be lost? When I've heard stories of people who have had near-death experiences, most often the story goes that someone on the other side says, "It's not your time yet, go back." Here we have a story of a soul that says, "I wish you could have saved," or "I thought you were going to save me." Let me actually go back and read that again. "I really thought you were an angel and could save me." And he sighed heavily and he seemed sad. It's almost like there's regret. The soul has some regret that they couldn't make it in the human world, in their condition. And so I do believe that when we pass, we leave those things behind us. Our illnesses, we are free from pain and illness, and we see the bigger picture for what it is, even though this is not easy for me to say out loud, but we see the bigger picture regardless of how we passed. As tragic as it can be, we know that we're free from something on the other side. So why would this soul express regret or sadness about this situation? And I want to say a huge disclaimer. I do not disbelieve this story that you shared, Kazemaru. It does challenge what I believe, but it also touches on things that I wonder about. So I don't pretend to know everything. The opinion I just shared about we leave the pain behind, we don't take it with us. And I've said before, I believe in one place, which is heaven after death. And I don't believe it's possible to get damned or condemned to some place. With that said, I have also mentioned before on the podcast that I believe our souls have willpower, free willpower. I don't believe that our souls can get stuck because something makes us get stuck, some other being or some higher power. I believe that we can do that to ourselves. And I've shared this example before. If we were somebody who was very if all of our being invested in our body, like our body image, in our riches, in our wealth, in our possessions, we may decide as a soul to stay back and hang out for a little bit longer because we don't want to let go of those things. It doesn't mean we are damned to being stuck as a ghost in this limbo. It really makes me wonder, because I have had experiences in haunted places where I feel like there was a lingering energy, a lingering intelligent energy, not just residual. Residual energy is kind of like an energy imprint. If I walk up and down the same flight of stairs every day, the next person who owns my home may hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. That's residual energy. It's not my soul there present in the home. It's the energy left from my soul in the home. So when I say intelligent energy, I've had experiences where I feel intelligent energy in a haunted place that feels just different than a soul that I know is passed on. I felt it in Gettysburg, in the Farnsworth House Inn. I felt a little bit of that. But the thing is, those experiences I had were within the context of paranormal investigations, ghost tours. And we know that those activities have this aura to them of being spooky. It's meant to be spooky. They hope something will happen to freak you out because it's a story to tell for people to keep going back. And I like getting spooked to a certain extent. But I wonder how much that framed my mindset for those experiences, because they were scary. Well, one of them was a scary experience, but maybe it wouldn't have been scary if it was within a different context, not a spooky ghost tour. And if it were, I don't know, if I were just to see the being, the soul behind that activity as just a soul that wants to say hi, not a soul that is stuck in that house and is sad and depressed. So when it comes to souls that are sad and seem to be stuck, I do think that is their own doing. I don't think they are stuck because the universe has decided they deserve to be stuck in the in-between. I don't believe that. One time, a former friend of mine told me that they had a portal in their apartment, in an apartment they used to live in, and it was a very heavy, very intense portal. It was hard to handle. That person is a former friend for a reason. I learned, and this is going to help me express why I'm sharing this story with you about the portal. This friend was very they needed a friend who could also be their therapist. And I am not the kind of friend. I'm the kind of friend that you can vent to, you can rant, you can share your sorrows with. You go through a breakup, you go through a passing in the family. I am there for you, and I will cry with you. I will hold you while you cry. But there's a difference between that kind of support and making a friend like a therapist. There's a very fine line. And it became, I sort of became the receiving end of their daily diary. And I wasn't appreciating that anymore. And there was a time in my life when I used to be that person, and I just wanted to stop because I realized that this wasn't healthy for me to do this to friends or to people. And I started understanding what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. And this person was maybe 15 or 20 years older than I am. And not that age is the most important factor here, but it just tells you this person really has a lot to work through. They have some I won't go into it, but this person would get very upset with me because I wouldn't just be a listening ear every time we talked. And I can only take so much as one human being. I can only take so much venting and complaints about someone at the grocery store. And I hate to sound so dismissive, and they would call me dismissive sometimes, but this person needed support that I couldn't give them, and they didn't quite understand why I couldn't give it to them. So why am I sharing this? I just find it very interesting that this person said they had this very intense portal in their apartment. And yet they are also this person navigating in the world feeling like a victim. I hate to say that. It sounds so mean. But I'm trying to make a point that maybe the mindset we have about ourselves and our lives, how we navigate in the world, can influence how we experience the things that happen around us. Maybe we call energy to us without even thinking about it. And that's where I do sort of believe in law of attraction. If I'm someone who thinks that I think all men are stupid. I think men are terrible. Well, maybe I'll go on dates and maybe I'll meet men that are stupid and terrible because I think they're all stupid and terrible. Why should I expect anything more from a man? So why should I be surprised if I keep meeting men that match exactly what I expect of them? That's not the case for everybody, but I used to be that person that would complain about men. And I kept meeting men that I didn't really enjoy too much or were emotionally immature, just as I was emotionally immature. They were matching my energy. So when it comes to hauntings and ghosts, I think that sometimes the way we understand ghosts, the way that we think of the paranormal, the supernatural, if we think that it's all evil or invading, we might say it scares the hell out of us. But if we see a ghost in our home or a soul in our home as just coexisting with the living, and that's it, it really changes how we see or how we describe a haunting. Now, I know there are people out there who have had very truly scary experiences growling in the dark in their home. I know one of my friends said that they would hear growling during a sleep paralysis in their home. I can't explain those experiences. I don't know if I really believe in demonic energy. I don't know if I do. But what's interesting about this friend of mine in this home, they lived with their family. Used to, and they would share how their family had a lot of dysfunction. And I used to tell her that when I would enter her family home, I felt like a sandwich of energy where her room felt so protected and blessed and light. And the rest of the house felt like low energy. And she would share with me the types of things that would happen in the home, the kinds of discussions, the kinds of arguments. So maybe that contributed to it. I don't know, man. I don't have all the answers. But what I do understand at this point in my life is when it comes to ghosts, first of all, let's talk about the word ghost. I think when people say the word ghost, they think about the Patrick Swayze movie with Whoopi Goldberg, or they think about a soul that is stuck. Because I don't think people usually would say... People don't tend to say, my mother passed away and I saw her ghost. There are people who will describe their family members' souls as ghosts, but I feel like, at least in my part of the universe, in my social circles, people don't tend to call the souls of their loved ones ghosts. They call them souls or spirits. Whereas ghost has a connotation of something that is haunting a place or stuck in a place, stuck on this earthly plane. And I do think that because there is free will power in the spirit world, just as much as there is in the human world, I believe that we can, as souls, think ourselves or decide to stay or stick around somewhere, even if it's not for our soul's evolution, if it doesn't benefit our soul's evolution. What do y'all think? Because listen, I know there are ghost stories that are truly spooky. I know there are stories out there where you can say, Juan, listen, I know you said it depends on your mindset. You can see something as spooky or not as spooky, but Juan, I truly had a scary thing happen to me. I cannot see it as anything else. It's impossible to. I believe you. I just don't know how to explain it. This psychic medium doesn't know how to explain it. And I will always say I don't pretend to know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. And I'm still learning. But what I do know is there's only good and love on the other side. And that when it comes to hell, I'm starting to believe that our mindset as a human can also create hell on the other side. Someone described to me, not me personally. I was watching a YouTube video on a near-death experience, and this person said that they learned that the reason some people see hell, or some people see Buddha, or some people see Jesus, is because their mindset as a human being, their belief system, influences the other side that they're going to see. So if they are somebody who only sees, I don't know why someone would see hell, but someone's mindset as a human being may create for them on the other side a type of hell. Someone may see Buddha when they go to the other side, and I may see Jesus. Both are valid. Both are a result of my belief system, of a human being's belief system. Does it make one real and one fake? No, absolutely not. I believe the universe, God, shifts and shapes itself based on what we are comfortable with and based on what we are expecting. I would love to look more into near-death experiences where the person went to hell. It sounds so weird to say out loud because I don't wish it on anybody, but I'm really curious to look into that. So maybe I'll do a future podcast episode on that because no one talks about that enough. People talk about, I went to heaven, saw a tunnel of light, and I met my grandparents, and then I saw Jesus, or I saw angels, and I saw XYZ, and I felt love, but I had to go back because they told me it wasn't my time yet. But no one really talks about the experiences where people say they've gone to a torturous or dark place. And to put a positive end to this, there are many experiences of people going to hell and they just shout Jesus' name and then the light comes to them while they are in hell or in limbo. So there's hope. Again, free will power. It's interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to end the episode here. I hope you stick around for more spooky special episodes. And I want to say, heads up. Something exciting is coming up on my Instagram mid-October. I'm going to do a big giveaway for the 3rd anniversary of wow, I'm mixing up my own. I just ruined my announcement. 3rd anniversary of Third Eyesight. I'm getting semi-chills just saying that. It's going to be 3 years since I launched Third Eyesight on October 25th. And in celebration of that, I'm going to do a huge Instagram giveaway with 2 very good friends of mine who are going to offer some really great product. And I'm going to offer some great product as well, in addition to a reading with me. So make sure to follow me on Instagram, Juan Francisco Spirit, and be on the lookout for that giveaway going up. It should be October 14th, if not October 14th, around mid-October. And all you have to do is sign up through Instagram. It's very easy. There are 3 easy steps. You see what I did there? 3rd anniversary of Third Eyesight, 3 easy steps for the giveaway. I want to mention it now because I don't want people to miss it. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you kind of should if you are on Instagram, because I put up a lot of stuff on Instagram and I enjoy it. And this giveaway, you will miss this giveaway if you're not on Instagram. It's going to be great. So I'm saying it now so you don't miss it. I'm saying it 2 weeks in advance. And I will see you on the next spooky special episode. Take care. If you have a question or topic you want me to cover on Third Eyesight, head to my website, juanfranciscospirit.com/contact, and send a message my way. If you really enjoyed this episode, leave a review wherever you listen. I'd really appreciate it.